Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to speak to the business leaders of our state today. I understand it's almost lunchtime, so trust me, I will be very brief. And I know I've been asked to talk about taxes. So let me clear up a few things. I want everybody to understand that the current state of our state budget, because there's been some confusion and sometimes people get lost in translation where we are. We just approved a budget this past year that is set, where we're set to bring in $700 million more than our actual budget. So, when reports come in a little bit here and a little bit there, I'm not worried about that. And on top of that, we've got almost $2.5 billion in reserves in the bank. So please keep that in mind as I talk to you about some of the reforms that we're looking at going forward. So we're starting out of the gate with approximately $700 million in our budget, over and above what we're spending on government right now out of our general fund. So that's a very important key point. When we talk about tax reform, a little bit of history here. Tax reform started before this, but really kicked off in my career with the 2016 reforms. That's almost 10 years ago now, okay? So that's when we started off with some other business reforms in our tax code, but we also started eliminating the income tax, the individual income tax in the state of Mississippi. I like to refer to that as the tax on work, because that's exactly what it is. It's a tax against productivity for your workers. So let me say this. The House reform that you're going to see very soon. I hope the bill's ready today. We're ready to go with it. Our friends in the Senate know what's coming. I look forward to debating it. But there's a few key points I want to go over with you. It's not just going to be looking at the income tax. I'm a staunch supporter in eliminating the income tax in the state of Mississippi. There are 9 states across America that give us a pattern that show this can be done. But our reform is going to take a holistic approach at our entire tax code. If you're not willing to do that, okay, then by default what you're saying is that we have a perfect tax code. And I'm here today to tell you we have a far from perfect tax code. The Lieutenant Governor previously mentioned you want balance in your tax code, and I certainly agree with that. But the current tax code is a 100 years of a patchwork system that does not fund government in the way that's most fair to our taxpayers. And so that's what we're trying to look at. When I stood before this business community and really the state back in September, October, when we had our tax summit out in Flowood, some of you may have been there, I stood up and I told everybody that was there that day, as part of this effort, I've got 3 goals. And the House has 3 goals. Number 1, with the leadership we have in the House, in the governor's office, and in the Senate, there is no reason that our goal in this area should not be the number 1 most competitive, most fair tax code in the entire country. Why is that not our goal? So it is. I'm here today to tell you that is our goal. That is what we are trying to get to. Number 1 most fair tax code in the entire state that still takes care of government needs. So, as the speaker said, I'm going to get into a little bit of the specifics, but I'm not going to get all into the numbers because I don't want to bore you too much. But it's important, and it's extremely important to your industries. In addition to that being the number 1 goal, we also recognize that government is closest to the people at the city and the county level. And our cities and our counties have real needs. Some of you, all of you have homes that you live in, and you drive over city roads every single day that are, some of them falling apart. We know and we recognize those needs. So as part of this reform, we wanted to look at how can we provide more money for the real role of government at the local level. And then thirdly, I want you to pay very close attention to this. We are trying to fund a modern infrastructure system on 1987 dollars. Okay, I'm telling you that is impossible. Okay, so the third goal of our reform is to bring our highway funding and our transportation system into the 21st century. So you may be thinking, all right, how are you going to do that? The House plan is going to be the largest tax cut in the history of the state. It's going to cut approximately $2.2 billion over a 10-year period while cutting our grocery tax in half and eliminating the tax on work in the state of Mississippi. It will shift some other monies around in the sales tax area and on fuel tax that will total about $1.1 billion. So the net tax cut over this plan will be a $1.1 billion net tax cut for the people of this state that will take a holistic approach and look at our tax code, and it will bring more money to our cities and counties, and at the same time, it will add $500 million per year in new money to our state transportation highway system and our, what I call our multimodal rails, ports, and airports. I'm telling you this is possible. We've studied this for years now, and we're at the point now, 10 years into this, from 2016 when this started, where we can look at it and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, where we can continue to eliminate gradually the income tax right at the same rate that we've been eliminating it over the last 10 years, where we've seen record growth, until that gets to zero. Everybody buys food. We want to cut the grocery tax in half. And when you do that over a period of time, responsibly, when you start with a $700 million surplus in your budget with $2.5 billion in the bank, we can do it. And that's what the House is systematically over the next few days and weeks and months going to prove to the state of Mississippi, the business community, and our everyday workers, our wage earners, that we can do this, we can do it responsibly, and at the end of this plan, we can bring our transportation system into the 21st century of how we fund it, and it will set the standard for the future of business and commerce in the state of Mississippi for many, many years to come. So I look forward to continuing to work with y'all as we go out this process. As the Speaker said, we have an open door policy in the House. If you have questions, come see us. I look forward to it, and thank y'all very much.